Partner i član upravnog odbora investicionog fonda BC Partners Niko Statopulos u poseti je Beogradu. Ovom prilikom on je posetio ljude koji su zaposleni u United Mediji i United Grupi, ali i N1, a danas se sastao i sa premijerkom Srbije Anom Brnabić. Naš gost večeras je Niko Statopulos. Mr. Statopulos, thank you for having you in the N1 today.
My pleasure.
This day you have a meeting with Prime Minister Brnabić, so this is the most important news of your visit. What can you tell us about that?
We had a very, I would say, positive and productive meeting with the Prime Minister. She was very receptive to the discussions that we had, all the points that we made. I think I mentioned that the country is in a very good state at the moment. The growth is good, is much better than a lot of other European markets. And our investment in United Group is a good example of a vote of confidence really in the country. So it was overall a very productive and positive meeting.
In the previous interview, you said that you want to protect your investment. So what are you afraid of here in Serbia?
The protection is more in the sense that we will support our investment in any way we can. We made a very big investment in the country and in the region overall. And for us, it's more about making sure that we have a level playing field when we're competing, and we're not afraid to compete, that everything is done according to the rule of law. And I think even also the message that I got from the Prime Minister this morning was very much on that basis.
So the audience here, the public, is thinking when you're meeting the officials that something is wrong. Is something wrong?
There might be that impression. Naturally, as an investor in the country, I'm more focused of making sure that we have the right environment, that we allow businesses to grow and flourish. Because if they grow, they create more jobs. There's going to be more investment in this market. United Group has, in our view, the best technology, it has the best talent, it has very strong people, and it's in a great place to continue to grow. So from my perspective, the most important is that the government in any country creates that environment for international investors to do what they do best, which is support their businesses to grow.
So do you feel that something will be changed after your today's meeting with Prime Minister here in Serbia?
I don't know if things will change, but I certainly hope that if they do, they change for the better. I think there is a genuine willingness from the government to attract foreign investment, and therefore, if our example, at least in United Group, is a positive one and it's a successful one, I'm sure that there will be more people who will be looking at investing in this country.
When we are talking about partnership, you said in the previous statement, partnership and cooperation with the government. People think that that might have some influence on the media or how media reports. You have N1 in United Group or Nova S. So. Could that influence on editorial policy? That's what public wants to know here.
Not at all. Neither the government nor ourselves, for that matter, have any interest of influencing the editorial policy. As you may know, N1 has an independent editorial board, which is comprised of international experienced people, and that's our strategy. We will have no influence on N1. Nor should we have an influence on N1, and I have a strong sense that neither the government has any interest in influencing anything to do with N1.
But very often you can hear that the government, I mean the people from the government, the ministers or their deputies or MPs are saying that, for example, attribute N1 as a kind of American television or foreign traitors, journalists or something that actually attribute N1 as someone who is working for a foreign interest. Mm-hmm. So when you heard something like that, what do you feel? Are you doing that?
I'm very disappointed to hear this thing. We have nothing to do with we're not the medium of any government of any country. We're trying to do whatever we can to be independent news, to be very impartial in any shape or form. And that's frankly what I hope it's going to be the case, and I hope it is the case from that perspective. And that's why we have this independent editorial board to safeguard the independence of N1. But we're not representing any country, we're not representing any government. We're representing as much as we can independent journalism. And I believe that you and the rest of the N1 staff is doing exactly this.
Thank you for having this kind of the answer. Also, when connecting N1 and United Group, very often you can hear that the name of Dragan Šolak, who is a shareholder in United Group, is mentioning as a kind of a political threat. What do you know about Dragan Šolak and his political ambitions?
Well, one thing I know about Dragan Šolak is that he has been a pioneer in this industry. He founded United Group, and he was able, through his vision, to grow it to the level that it is also today. He has been able to attract some blue chip international investors even before our investment in United Group. And that's a testament, I think, of the quality of the business that he has been able to build. From what I know, and I've had, by definition, several conversations with him on the topic, because I've heard also the same rumors, he has absolutely no interest of being involved in the political or any other type of similar life in this country.
Okay, you said that investors are concerned on rule of law in Serbia. Also, European Union in a progress report mentioned that. So, after these talks today, you're pessimistic or optimistic feeling?
First of all, I'm more optimistic. I think in particular, the Prime Minister has clearly indicated that she's willing to implement the rule of law, and in every shape or form. As you correctly said, it is also a requirement for any EU accession and any candidacy to come into the EU, which I genuinely believe that this government is keen to do. So I'm more optimistic that this will be the case, because it's obvious to everyone that without this and without visible steps and actions on that front, that EU accession at the minimum will become much more difficult.
Concerning business, in terms of having a normal business condition here, so the competitor in this country is another telecommunication company who is actually majority owned by the state of Serbia. So do you feel that's unfair competition, or what could be changed to have a normal competition and a business condition to work on?
It's always difficult for a private company to compete with a state-owned company in any industry, let alone in telecommunications, which is also a regulated industry. There have been instances that we have felt that there may not have been a level playing field when we were competed with Telekom Serbia, but we welcome that competition. We're competing in every other country that we are operating, and United Group is operating in 6 other countries in the region, and potentially even more going forward given our expansion plans. So we welcome competition, not just from Telekom Serbia, but anyone else. One of the messages that I communicated to a lot of the officials I made in my visit in the last couple of days was I want them to ensure that there is a level playing field, because if there's a level playing field, everyone can compete on the same terms. I hope that this is going to continue being the case, and certainly, in particular vis-à-vis Telekom Serbia, I hope that this will also be the case going forward.
Okay, once you said that the investment is in timing, so and you can invest in a good business when is wrong time. So, what do you feel about your investment in United Group? Was it a good time or not?
First of all, time will tell if it was a good time, and that's the downside of being an investor, is that a priori you cannot judge whether you've made the right investment until you exit this investment and you reap the returns. But I do think that the timing is the right one for United Group. I think, as I mentioned at the beginning, that the country is on the right track. The growth, the GDP growth that also Serbia demonstrated last year at 3.5% to 4% is a GDP growth that a lot of countries will be envious of, and so that is important. There is a big correlation between GDP growth and telecom spend, and I think this will come through, and it is coming through in terms of the performance of United Group. And I think the willingness and all the reform actions that I believe and I hope that this government is going to take in its journey to EU accession will also help this country mature. And this will translate into the implementation of rule of law. This will translate, I believe, in also a more stable tax and legal system. And these are all good indicators of a country that is maturing towards that stage. I think investments like ourselves, that our investment, I think, would help in that journey of maturity, and eventually will prove that the timing was hopefully right, investing behind a company that is growing. I tend to say, as you correctly mentioned, that the difference between a good business and a good investment sometimes is timing. But I invest in businesses and companies. I don't invest in countries. And for me, my investment was in United Group. However, United Group operating in some of these countries, we cannot ignore the momentum. And I think the momentum in Serbia at the moment is a positive one. So hopefully we'll get that tailwind behind us, and it will help our investment.
People in Serbia wonder, what does it mean the Blackstone investment group come into BC Partners and take some shares? So what does it mean? For us, we're very excited about this development. It doesn't happen very often that a division of another large private equity fund is willing to take a minority stake in a competing private equity fund. For us, it was a vote of confidence on BC Partners and our strategy, our governance, our investment track record, and our people. And by having Blackstone alongside us, I also believe that it could potentially help of our direct investment here with United Group. It's a great ally to have, and it's a great institution to have alongside us. They're very like-minded, and it gives us additional firepower and additional leverage for anything that we do. Okay, and for the last question, for the end, is it the good news when we have you here, or a bad news? So when you will come the next time, and is it good news for us?
I hope it's good news. It's because it shows commitment, it shows interest, it shows the level of support that genuinely, as a fund and me personally, want to demonstrate to this investment. And I hope to be back very soon.
Okay, thank you very much for having you here in Belgrade and in N1.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Bio razgovor sa predsjednikom United grupe i partnerom u BC Partnersu, Nikosom Statopulosom. Ostanite uz naš program. Prijatno večer.